and hear a little more from her. But it's time for us to talk health. Now, today on the health segment, we're going to be talking about how to be a COVID-savvy parent, okay? All the kids are going back to school now, and many of us are concerned, how not to have our children contract COVID, and even maybe a worse situation to bring COVID from outside back to the house, So I think it's very important for us to have this conversation, and we have no one better than Dr. Kelvin Owusu joining us this morning to help us to get into this conversation. But this segment is sponsored by the Farmers Market. The Farmers Market, 100% hygienic and farm fresh. Now, the show is interactive, so we definitely want to hear from you. If you have any questions for Dr. Kelvin, use the hashtag BreakfastDaily on all social media platforms. Otherwise, you can also use our WhatsApp line, which is 0550585832. And those of you who are outside Ghana, it's +233. That's the country code. But Dr. Kelvin is here. Good morning. How are you doing?
Very well, David. How are you?
I'm super. Yeah, I think this year, I'm probably feeling the best I have felt so far this year today.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's super.
Yeah,
what's your secret?
I'm really good. No. We spoke a little earlier.
Yeah.
I've been feeling a bit down in the dumps and all that, but today I'm really good. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, COVID. Parents are back with their kids, to the daily routine of children going to school, traffic. Early morning sandwiches and other preparations for the children and all those things have begun.
I didn't miss that at all.
So all of that has begun again. But I think that parents are, not surprisingly, concerned.
Yeah.
As the children are going back to school, the situations in school, classrooms, and all these things, playgrounds and all of that. How can parents become, the kind of parents where they are almost like they are bulletproof, be able to protect their children and protect their household as their children keep going and coming?
I mean, since the announcement was made that schools were going to be open, I've had a lot of calls, a lot of messages, parents, apprehension, anxiety. Should we send our kids? Should we not send our kids? Let me just start off by saying that it will be nearly impossible to bulletproof your children, whether they are in school or they are in the house. Because the truth of the matter is that so long as somebody in the house is going out into the world to do whatever they are going to do and come back to that house, everybody in the house is already at risk. So that's the premise. See, because let me ask you, when you leave work and you go home, do you actually get out of, first of all, do you wash your hand? Do you get out of your clothes before you hug your kids or even your wife or whoever? Not likely. It's not likely.
As much as you may want to do those things,
it's not possible.
I think it's a tough call.
Exactly. Yeah. Before you can say, Jack, they've jumped on you, and and you're also excited to see them.
Course.
And so once somebody is leaving the house to go to the market, to go to the office, to go and buy something across the street, the whole family is at risk anyway. And so it's not possible to bulletproof the family. However, we can put measures in place to try and reduce it as much as possible. And with respect to the children, most of the recommendations are the same as adults. Wear the mask. Of course, we'll talk about it into a bit more detail. But wear the mask. Hand washing, hand sanitizing, avoiding crowded areas, maintaining social distance. If you are coughing, you cough into your sleeve. Of course, make sure you're wearing the mask. But as much as possible, cough into your sleeve of your elbow. And then wash your hand after you touch the mask. So all these recommendations and precautions are the same for children. But then the question is, how do we ensure that the children are going to, first of all, do they understand these things? And are they going to do it and do it the right way, or do it as often as they need to? Because children interact with each other very, very often. In the classroom, how does the teacher, are they going to be additional staff to make sure that while the teacher's back is turned, the children are not misbehaving? It's very difficult. It's a very difficult. I'm speaking as a parent myself, and I'm also speaking as a medical personnel. I'm kind of in the middle of the two situations. and it's really not easy. I mean, for me myself, for me as a doctor, for me as a parent, it's not easy at all. So I understand where the parents are coming from, you know. But let me just, like I said, it's not possible to 100% bulletproof your family. It's not going to be possible.
So what are some of the key things you think that parents should bear in mind to be able to, first of all, understand this whole COVID thing itself? You know, because I think that one of the challenges that I have found is that there are communities, large swathes of communities, especially when you step outside Accra, where people
even
feel
within Accra.
Well, yeah, it's true. Even within Accra, where people feel as if, oh, you people are just making noise, overhyping this.
Yeah,
it's not such a big deal. We haven't seen anybody die, so you know it's not true. And then they start castigating those of us who are coming from Accra when you go to places, other towns, and they say, oh, the Accra people have come. Right, they are wearing masks.
Yeah. I get that. In fact, just is it the past 2 weeks? I've been to the Volta region. I've been to the Eastern region, and I've also been to some of the outskirts of Greater Accra. And I mean, that's what they say. You know, so once you get there, you're wearing your mask and you are not shaking hands. I mean, they are doing all of it. You are shaking hands. There's really no. They are not following the precautions. That's the bottom line, and that's a very, very difficult thing. I mean, I actually heard people say that this COVID is a rich man's disease because only the rich people are dying. But that actually presents a major problem, because if the so-called rich are actually dying, it tells you that if it actually goes into the lower class or lower economic status individual, it's going to cause a lot of havoc. You know, because now even the hospitals are getting full. You know, ICUs are full. I mean, it's not a very nice picture that we are painting at the moment. But of course, it doesn't also mean that we shouldn't get the kids back in school, because we know, or at least the data that we have so far doesn't necessarily put children at any extreme risk should they go to school. I mean, we look at data from UK as recent as December 2020. And the infection rate among primary school children is less than 1%.
Oh, I see.
And I mean, the highest group of people the highest infection rate is actually among the secondary school students, which also goes to support that the disease sort of
goes for the older.
The older age brackets. You know, so we have the primary school, preschool, less than 1%. In fact, the actual amount is about 0.89%.
I see.
So it's actually not should I say, prevalent among that age group. I mean, if you look at the situation in UK generally, and you look at the fact that that age group is, you know, not too significantly affected, it gives you some hope that yes, indeed, the children going to school might actually be a good thing, because it brings them some amount of normalcy, you see, because this whole COVID and the interruption in their educational calendar has not been easy for them. I mean, for the parents, yes, it's not been easy trying to, you know, keep them engaged and all that, but for they themselves, you know, especially the families where they have only one child, it's not been easy at all for their socialization, for their engagement and all that. So going back to school might actually be a good thing, provided we do it right. And this is where the parents come in. I mean, like I keep saying, I'm not overstating the fact that it's not easy being a parent in this COVID era. You know, because how do you make sure that your kid is not going to do what he's not supposed to do, go and exchange masks and all that? And since I mentioned masks, let me just address this thing. So from the WHO, the recommendation is that children 5 years and below should not actually be wearing masks.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So I'm sure even in Ghana, a couple of schools, I haven't been to a lot, but the few schools that I've been to, most of them are not enforcing the under 5s, 5 and below wearing masks, which is in line with WHO recommendation. It's because that age group.
Why? Yeah, go on. Tell us why.
Because that age group, first of all, they don't understand what is going on. So you give them the mask, they might end up putting themselves at risk more from wearing the mask. You know, because somebody will want to wear somebody's pink mask, and I want to wear the blue mask, and they'll be exchanging. I like your own. You know, so that's not the best thing. And secondly, there may be more health complications from wearing the mask, you know, because of the reduced air intake and the fact that they may not be in a position to complain. So they might end up suffering from reduced oxygen and increased carbon. I mean, there's the complications of wearing the mask that they may not be able to express, and to end up with more severe form of disease or other complications. So it's not recommended that for that age group they wear it. And even for children above 5, between 6 and 12, again, this is not a strict adherence to wearing of mask, what the WHO recommends is that they should look at the community. If the spread is serious in that community, then wearing mask is recommended. But if the spread in the community is low, then the age group of 6 to 12 is not recommended that they actually wear face mask. Then those above 12, they must follow all the adults protocol, so they must wear the mask because they will understand that they can wear, they wear the mask, they wash their hands and all those things. So then above 12, they definitely have to wear the mask as an adult would. So those are the 3 sort of categorizations for when it comes to children.
All right, so looking at the rollout of GES came out with a whole very comprehensive, protocols and guidelines for the way things are going to happen in schools and so on and so forth. That's all well and good. Now, in terms of parents and parenting, what are there any things that parents can look at that in terms of the home, in terms of teaching the children, showing the children the way, what are some of the things? I remember some time ago we were talking about this and talking about playing games, you know, and helping the children to understand what's going on through the playing of games and all of that. Is that still applicable? What are some of the things that parents can do? It's
even more applicable now than before because now we are in the reality. The children are going to be away from you. They are going to go to school. You are not there. So this is the time to actually reinforce all that you have been saying all this while. You know, and so make sure that they actually learn how to wash their hands if they have not already done that, and you make sure that they do it frequently so that it becomes a part of them, so that they know that when I go to school, I'm supposed to wash my hand after doing this, after going here, after coming here, you know, so that the washing hands becomes a part of them, and also use of the sanitizer. And of course, as a parent, this is the time to provide sanitizers for your kids. I mean, small bottle that you can actually put enough just for the day. Because the thing is, children are also careless. If you give them a big bottle, you probably not come back. You know, so find a small bottle that you can dispense some sanitizer into it for daily use. That would be very good. You know, and so and of course, you must have taught the child how to use the sanitizer. You know, so whilst you're home, that could be part of the games you play. So you press the sanitizer in the hand, you make it a fun experience. You know, so when the kids are alone, you encourage them to also use the sanitizer so that they actually know how to handle it. Because you don't want a situation where the children will also now go and put the sanitizer in the mouth directly. Of course, it might not be toxic then, but you don't know how much they are going to consume. You know? So you don't want them to do all those things as well. So make it a fun activity. This is the time to reinforce all those things. And then let me also talk about nutrition. You see, when it comes to viruses, and we've heard about immune boosting and all those things. Basically, it's the immune system that will deal with viruses of all kinds, including coronavirus. And it's more important now because, well, we are dealing with a COVID outbreak, and now there's a new strain also which has been discovered in Ghana as well, which is more infectious than the one we were already dealing with. So, you know, so your immune system is very, very important. So this is the time for you to encourage your children, especially those who don't like eating vegetables. Vegetables are very, very important. So find innovative ways of getting the vegetables in, and fruits as well. And by fruits, I'm referring to natural fruits. Fresh fruits actually is preferred, or you know, fresh fruit juices. This is really not the time to be indulging in the fizzies and all the other things. Fresh fruits is the way to go, because those fruits also contain micronutrients that are very important to the function of the immune system. You know, because the thing about children going to school, and that is what we worry about as medics, is that you know, once they go to school, there are going to be outbreaks of viral infections in general. In general, I mean, we've had 1 year of virtually not much viral outbreaks. But once they go back to school, it's going to start. You know, and so we need to try as much as possible to reduce the risk. You know, because once the immune system is, you know, functioning properly, then that would go down. Once they are washing their hands more frequently, again, the chance is going to be reduced. So all these corona protocols would help control other infections as well.
Okay. Now, just very quickly, if you look at this is one of the common appearances that I see in town. People are wearing a mask, and they have done this, and they are feeling safe. What's the problem with this?
Well, if you do that, you are better off not wearing a mask at all. because
Why not?
So the coronavirus is a respiratory infection. It starts it gets in through the respiratory system. It comes out. It's excreted through the respiratory system. Of course, it affects the whole body, but that's the primary area.
Yeah.
And respiration begins through the nose. You breathe in and out through the nose. So the most important part of the body that needs to be covered is actually the nose.
Okay.
Then secondarily, you also need to cover your mouth because some of the respiratory secretions come out through the mouth. And so it is very important to actually cover the nose and cover the mouth as well. So that's why we say the mask must extend from the bridge of the nose all the way to under the chin. The bridge of the nose also gives you some stability. Because when you put it on the bridge of the nose, it doesn't move as much. And then the chin also gives it like an anchor. Again, doesn't move. So that you can actually be talking whilst wearing the mask. And and another thing that people do is they are wearing the mask all right, but when they have to talk, they bring it down and talk.
And then they talk.
That defeats the purpose because as you are talking, you are bringing out respiratory particles, and so you're actually infecting everybody in the atmosphere, in the environment, And so in as much as we need to sort of try as much as possible to return to some level of normalcy, we need to also remember that we are still in unusual times. And so, yes, the mask is uncomfortable, but getting corona is also very uncomfortable, and you might actually die. You might actually die from from getting that corona. So ask yourself, the discomfort of wearing the mask, is it more important than dying from coronavirus?
Some people say medium into me breathe so and as if getting coronavirus is better than...
You won't even get an ICU bed. So that's the issue. And if you do get the ICU bed, can you afford to pay? It's because corona is not only is corona, I mean...
Just to put it in perspective, ICU beds are about 3,000 cedis a day now. Yeah. So it's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
So wear the mask.
I saw a Facebook post. I haven't verified it, but I saw a Facebook post, and the person was talking about the fact that he had corona and was on admission for 3 days, and he ended up paying 16,000 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
So now the question is, do you have 16,000 cedis to spare?
Buy masks and wear them.
One CD a day keeps the corona away.
Thank you. Doc, where can people reach you?
I'm on social media, Kelvin Owusu, MD, on Facebook and on Instagram as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We've been speaking with Dr. Kelvin Owusu, who is the Medical Director for Optimal Care Diagnostics.